2003, a team of researchers lowered underwater microphones into Lake Champlain, hunting for the Lake Champlain Monster, and recorded something that has never been explained. The sounds match the echolocation of a beluga whale or a dolphin. Click patterns, pulses, the kind of biological sonar that marine mammals use to navigate and hunt in dark water. The recordings were clean enough to be published in a scientific journal. Real data, peer-reviewed. The expedition was funded by the Discovery Channel. One problem: there are no beluga whales in Lake Champlain. There are no dolphins. There is no known animal living in this lake that is capable of producing echolocation. Something in the water was using sonar, and whatever it was, science doesn't have a name for it. Lake Champlain runs 125 miles between Vermont and New York, right in the heart of the American Northeast. 3 hours from New York City, 4 hours from Boston. This isn't some remote Alaskan wilderness that nobody visits. This is a lake surrounded by towns, highways, and vacation homes. Millions of people drive past it every year, and something has been living in it that we can't identify. For over 300 years, people have been reporting a large creature in this water. Not a handful of people. Over 300 documented sightings. Fishermen, police officers, tour boat captains, a county sheriff who got close enough to see white spots inside its mouth, 60 passengers on a cruise ship who all saw the same thing at the same time. The locals don't call it a mystery, they call it Champ. And 2 American states have passed official resolutions, in 1982 and 1983, to protect it. A creature that doesn't officially exist, protected by law, in the country that put a man on the moon. Stay with me, because the photograph that started all of this has been analyzed by the FBI, examined by a university, and after nearly 50 years, nobody has been able to prove it's fake. On July 5, 1977, a woman named Sandra Mancy was on vacation with her family near the shore of Lake Champlain in Vermont. Her kids were playing in the shallow water. Her fiancé had walked back to the car to grab the camera, and then something broke the surface about 150 feet from shore. A dark shape, a curved neck rising out of the water, a rounded back behind it, moving, alive. Mancy grabbed the camera and took one photograph before the thing sank back under. One frame, one chance. And when the photo was developed, it showed exactly what she described. A long-necked figure rising from the lake, gray against the rippled water, looking over its own back like it was checking whether anyone had noticed. The photo hit the New York Times, then Life magazine, then every news desk in the country. And then the argument started. Mancy had thrown away the negative. She couldn't remember the exact spot where she took it. Critics said the shape could be a floating log, a wave formation, a trick of light on water. Fair points, real objections. So the photo was sent to the University of Arizona for digital analysis. They ran enhancement techniques looking for signs of tampering, superimposition, wires, pulleys, any evidence of hoaxing. They found none.
Looking for any possible evidence that might be able to draw the further notice.
The conclusion was direct. Whatever the object is, it was there in the lake at the estimated distance. It was not a superimposition. The FBI examined it separately. Their finding was the same. No evidence of fakery, not proven real, but not proven fake either. And here's the detail about Sandra Mancy that matters more than any lab result. She never sold the photo for profit. She never sought fame. She never changed her story. She maintained for the rest of her life that what she saw was not a log and not a wave. She said it simply: in that lake, there is something extraordinary. 50 years later, nobody's proven her wrong. But Mancy wasn't the first person to see it. She wasn't the 100th. And the people who came before her weren't tourists with cameras. They were the people who built their lives around this water. The Abenaki people called it Tatoskok, a giant water serpent, a creature that lived in the deep parts of the lake and punished those who disrespected the water. The Iroquois had their own version, Onyarekoa. These weren't bedtime stories. They were survival rules. You learned them the same way you learned where not to swim and which currents could pull you under. When European settlers arrived, the sightings didn't stop. They accelerated. In 1819, the Plattsburgh Republican ran a story about a captain who claimed to have seen a serpent in the lake and described its eyes as the color of peeled onions. In 1883, a county sheriff named Nathan Mooney saw something 25 to 30 feet long from the shore. He was close enough to see white spots inside its open mouth, close enough that he didn't question what he was looking at. He filed a report and stood by it for the rest of his life. P.T. Barnum heard the stories and twice offered cash rewards, in 1873 and again in 1887, to anyone who could bring him the creature. The greatest showman in America wanted Champ for his collection. Nobody collected. Then in 1984, something happened that you can't wave away with bad lighting or floating logs. A tour boat called the Spirit of Ethan Allen was cruising near Burlington, Vermont, when passengers spotted a large creature in the water. Not one or two people whispering and pointing, 60 passengers on the same boat at the same time, all describing the same thing, a dark shape, roughly 30 feet long, moving in a smooth line through the water, creating a wake behind it. The captain slowed the boat. Passengers crowded to one side. Some grabbed cameras. The shape stayed visible for several minutes before sinking beneath the surface without a splash. No thrashing, no noise, just a slow, deliberate descent, like something that knew exactly where it was going. 60 people seeing the same thing at the same time isn't a hallucination. It isn't wishful thinking. It's a mass observation. In 2005, two fishermen named Dick Folter and Pete Baudet captured video footage of something in the lake, a shape that appeared to show a head, a neck, and an open mouth. The footage was sent to retired FBI forensic analysts. Their conclusion: the video was authentic and unaltered. And then in August 2024, during the production of a film called Lucy and the Lake Monster, a drone captured footage of a massive shape swimming just below the surface in Beluga Bay. The object was larger than the boat in the frame, a boat that measured 142 inches. The filmmakers weren't looking for Champ. They were making a movie. The drone just happened to be rolling. So what is it? The most common scientific explanation is sturgeon. Lake Champlain has lake sturgeon, prehistoric-looking fish that can grow over 6 feet, sometimes close to 8. They have bony plates instead of scales, ridged backs, and long flat snouts. In low light from a distance, a large sturgeon breaking the surface could look strange enough to spook someone who doesn't know what they're seeing. That explains some sightings. It doesn't explain all of them. Sturgeon don't have long necks. Witnesses consistently describe a vertical neck rising 3 to 5 feet above the water. Sturgeon don't echolocate. The 2003 recordings captured click patterns that no known fish in the lake can produce. Sturgeon don't travel in formation, creating V-shaped wakes at speed. And sturgeon don't grow to 30 feet, the size that dozens of independent witnesses have estimated across 2 centuries of reports. But there's a wilder theory, and it involves a creature that went extinct 40 million years ago. That what's living in this lake is a descendant of Zeuglodon, also known as Basilosaurus, a primitive whale ancestor from the Eocene epoch that could reach 60 feet in length and had a long, serpentine body unlike any whale alive today. An animal like that, isolated in a cold, deep lake for 10,000 years, adapting across generations, would look nothing like its ocean ancestors. The sturgeon theory covers the easy sightings. The hard ones, the photograph, the echolocation, the mass observation, the drone footage, the FBI-analyzed video, sit outside what sturgeon can explain. There's also the lake's depth to consider. 400 feet of cold, dark water with underwater trenches, caves, and rock formations that have never been fully mapped. Sonar sweeps have covered the surface layer. Nobody has systematically scanned the deep trenches. Whatever lives down there has 400 feet of darkness between itself and every boat that passes overhead. And here's the detail that makes this lake different from almost any other in the country. After the last ice age, about 10,000 years ago, Lake Champlain wasn't a lake at all. It was an arm of the Atlantic Ocean. Scientists call it the Champlain Sea, saltwater, marine life. Whales, seals, and species we've never cataloged swam in the same basin where Vermont families now take their kids kayaking. We know this isn't just theory. In 1849, a nearly complete skeleton of a beluga whale was dug up on a farm in Charlotte, Vermont, miles from any ocean. The Charlotte whale, as it's known, is now preserved at the University of Vermont, physical proof that marine mammals once lived in this basin. When the glaciers melted and the land rose, the water turned fresh, but whatever was living in it had nowhere to go. It was trapped. And a creature trapped in a deep, cold, fish-rich body of water for 10,000 years has had plenty of time to adapt to conditions that no scientist has ever studied up close. The researchers who take this most seriously aren't casual enthusiasts. Joseph Zarzinski spent decades leading expeditions on this lake, founding the Lake Champlain Phenomena Investigation and documenting evidence that serious cryptozoologists cite to this day. More recently, Katie Elizabeth founded Champ Search and led the team that captured new echolocation recordings in 2014. The same kinds of biological sonar clicks the Fauna Communications Research Institute recorded 11 years earlier. 2 separate teams, two separate sets of recordings. The same impossible sounds. Something in Lake Champlain produces echolocation that no known species in the lake is capable of. Something left a shape on Sandra Mancey's photograph that the FBI and the University of Arizona couldn't debunk. Something was large enough to be seen by 60 people from a tour boat in broad daylight. Something showed up on a film crew's drone footage in Beluga Bay in 2024 without anyone looking for it. And unlike the Loch Ness Monster, whose most famous photograph was eventually exposed as a hoax, not a single piece of primary Champ evidence has ever been proven fabricated. And here's the part that always gets me. Vermont and New York, two American state legislatures, full of lawyers and politicians and people who don't pass laws based on campfire stories, both passed official resolutions protecting Champ. Not studying it, protecting it. You don't pass a law to protect something you're sure doesn't exist. Port Henry, New York, built a statue of it, put it right on the waterfront, called themselves the home of Champ. An entire town staking its identity on a creature that science says probably isn't real. Or maybe the people who live on this water, who fish it every morning, who've watched it from their docks for generations, who taught their kids the same warnings the Abenaki taught theirs. Maybe they know something the rest of us haven't caught up with yet. 300 sightings, 2 states, 1 photograph nobody can debunk, echolocation recordings that belong to an animal that doesn't officially exist, a beluga whale skeleton pulled from a Vermont farm field, and a lake that used to be an arm of the Atlantic Ocean, still holding whatever swam in 10,000 years ago. Lake Champlain is 3 hours from New York City. You could drive there this weekend. Millions of people live within a day's drive of whatever is making those sounds beneath the surface. And the lake is still keeping its secret, but the evidence keeps getting harder to ignore.